the birth of a tank landing ship known as the LST, largest of our landing ship type of craft. 300 feet of bad nerves for the enemy, capable of crossing oceans under its own power. In recent months, on both sides of the world, the Axis has felt the blow of Allied amphibious invasion. Invasion by land troops trained to strike from the sea. Here at a Mediterranean base are some LSTs being loaded for such an invasion. Most remarkable feature, the gigantic bow doors and ramp, enabling the LST to run up on a beach and unload fast. Equipment counted in the millions of man-hours. Most material is treated with waterproofing. In case of air attack, it can be cast overboard for possible salvage later. Last to board and first to hit the beach are the men charged with putting the cargo ashore. This one's ready to sail. Landings like these are risky, but no battle was ever won in an armchair. Men trained by the Army and Navy Amphibious Command, tough, high-spirited, with plenty in the guts department. The rendezvous. Ponton bridges are carried for use when the LST can't get its nose close into the beach. Here, the enemy has been pushed out of range. We march in over an American road transported thousands of miles. Then the equipment comes ashore to swell our ammunition and supply dumps. The jeeps, the tanks, ready for action. Ammunition for trail-blazing guns. This is American pioneering as it must be done today. A slogging, muscle-tearing job. Aiding in the landing of cargo are these nimble road runners, the most astonishing and versatile member of America's vast invasion family. Equally at home on land or water, amphibious delivery trucks, sea jeeps, affectionately known as ducks. In she goes to load up. Then out again, low in the water, with lethal cargo to be flung at the enemy by the men ashore. In the shipyards where they're made, in all our far-flung fighting zones, their mission is to save American lives by shortening this war. To shorten it by even one day, to bring this to an end. Enemy air attack, one of our invasion craft during an actual landing. A near miss. In the same area, Nazi bombs that found their mark. Those millions of man-hours going up in smoke. Tons of steel, critical metals, hundreds of thousands of bearing assemblies and precision parts. But they got our men through despite the cost. The men and women of American labor will keep making and sending staggering quantities of fighting goods. And we'll see that they get there. for the larger assaults still necessary before the Axis is cracked. P-47 Thunderbolt pilots based in Britain are called on to furnish fighter protection for flying forts.
I want to point out the main features over again. On the way in, we want to stay as a group. No one to run off and pick off. These boys are trying to take us out.
Meanwhile, the Thunderbolts are being made ready by the ground crew. Machine guns are loaded with ammunition. Tested. Auxiliary belly tanks filled with high octane for long range. Headed across the channel for a sky rendezvous with our big bombers. There they are. Flying fortresses. Heavyweights ready for another of the daylight bombing missions that are dumping this war right in the Fuhrer's face. The Thunderbolts will tackle any fighter interference. Nazi fighters spotted. The Thunderbolts peel off. A camera on the wing of one of our planes tells what happened. Nazi planes you saw will never fight again. The bombing mission was accomplished. Homeward bound now.
Flapjack here. What is the runway?
Hello, Flapjack. Trombone here. The runway in use is now east to west. East to west. Listening out.
There's a man-to-man relationship between Americans taking place all over the world. Crew chief and his pilot, fighter in overalls and fighter behind the gun. And behind them, the fighter at home, making these weapons.
How was everything today, sir? Well, I think we got 3. I don't know. Camera will show it anyway. We'll get the film out right away, sir. Okay, fine.
This little camera made this film to let you see how our fighters are using the superb equipment you send them, to let you share in their victories. Sunday morning, somewhere. Forerunner of Allied invasion, knockout blows to enemy communications. Until it was pulverized into rubble and twisted steel by Allied fire and the dynamite of a fleeing enemy, this was a railroad station. Rolling stock. Roadbed. Then we moved in. Out of this smoking devastation, a rail system had to be rebuilt practically overnight. The first thing American fighting railroaders did was to improvise a locomotive out of a truck. It amazed the natives, but it ran. But this was just an iron mule. We needed iron war horses. Needed them fast. Impossible? No. A back-breaking job, but not impossible, thanks to Army railroaders. Track layers, brakemen, engineers, machine shop workers, the GI sons of Casey Jones. Here they are at a captured railroad terminal, now site of a camouflage assembly shop equipped with American machinery. Different here from the workshops in Pennsylvania and Illinois. The overalls are GI. The equipment is scarcer and less elaborate. Outside is the constant rumble of gunfire, but work goes on. This coal-fired steam boiler must receive asbestos insulation before it can power American rolling stock over captured enemy roadbeds. Hastily installed machinery hoists it, lowers it onto the frame. The outer jacket to enclose the insulation. With its cab jockeyed into position, number 279 begins to look like an iron war horse. Gauges, controls, made for this combat express by the skill of workers with a tradition that has linked all America together in a double rail of steel. These wheels may not go many miles before enemy bombs shatter them and all they carry. Railroads are land convoys, marked, like all convoys, for destruction by a desperate enemy. That's why they have to be turned out by the thousands, around the clock, day in and day out. Army railroad men knew beforehand of the narrow gauge track required for this territory. Orders to build the wheel assembly to the proper size were in work in shops at home months in advance of our invasion. Every cycle this driving rod completes will carry us deeper into Axis strongholds. Hitler controls a vast rail network. Our planes are wrecking those railroads. In North Africa, thousands of miles of track were kept operating, but there were still tracks in Europe to be repaired and utilized. Still trackless miles in Burma and China, in all the vast approaches to Japan. Our iron war horse, ready to be tested. It works. The rolling tests were wheel functioning. Check. A few hours ago, this was a mass of crated parts. Now it's ready to carry crates itself, and more. Yes, the sons of Casey Jones in the Army and in shops and foundries are still working on the railroad all the livelong day, all the livelong war. General MacArthur at a South Pacific outpost gives the order to American paratroopers and Aussie airborne artillerymen to move in from the sky on Japhel Lay in New Guinea, a combined Allied operation which succeeded. Preparations. Skyborne machine guns. Sky boots. Each squad of paratroopers is known as a stick of human blockbusters. They harness themselves to a piece of silk, pack a rifle, a jungle knife, rations, radio, emergency medical kit, and a prayer. They believe in helping each other. Final inspection before proceeding to the airfield. Equipment okay? Weapons okay? Ropes, webbing, buckles, hooks? God help them if someone slipped up somewhere. All set to go now. If the Japs on lay were expecting rain, this was it. A United Nations thunderhead. Airfield carved out of the jungle, leveled off with thousands of square feet of steel mats sent from our home plant. An immense number of C-47 transports has been gathered for this mission. Tanks have already been filled with high octane. The pilots have been briefed. More heavy equipment to be parachuted down with the men. Light, fast bombers have been assigned to furnish protective firepower along the route to Leh. You'd never guess from the faces of these men that their next stop will be a field in the middle of Jap territory. And up to the last minute, they keep helping each other. They'll continue helping each other on the plane and after they hit the ground. It's this kind of teamwork between all Americans that will win this war. The equipment is heavy. The men bend over to ease the weight while the planes warm up. Ready? It takes a tough hombre to step off into space when the order is given. The idea is to come down in one piece, take a body roll, deflate the silk, rip out of your harness, and start your main job of being a fighting soldier with 2 feet on the ground. The jump-off is just a detail. It saves you walking to work. In this case, walking to the Japs. Our patrol plane, laying smoke to cover our jump. We're over the landing site now.
7 okay, 10 okay, 9 okay, 8 okay, 7 okay, 6 okay, 5 okay, 4 okay, 3 okay, 2 okay, 1 okay. Is everybody okay? Yeah!
The flag of the rising sun no longer flies over Leh. Spilled over that field are the men who hauled it down. One of these days soon, they'll be landing in a field just outside Tokyo.